Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about retinitis pigmentosa, or RP for short. Now, this is a condition that affects thousands and thousands of people all over the world. But what's so incredible, and what we're really going to focus on, is the revolutionary science that's completely turning the tide. So let's jump right in. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the basics. What is this condition? Then we'll walk through exactly how it affects a person's vision. From there, we'll cover some really practical ways to adapt. And then the exciting part. We'll dive into the incredible research breakthroughs. And we'll wrap it all up with a look at what the future holds.
All right, section 1. So let's get right down to it. What is retinitis pigmentosa?
Okay, so this is important. RP isn't just one single disease. It's actually a whole group of genetic diseases. But the key thing, the common thread, is that they all cause a slow breakdown of the light-sensitive cells in your retina. You know, a really great way to think about this is to picture the retina as the film in an old-school camera. It's that layer of tissue at the very back of your eye that literally captures the images you see. And what RP does is it damages the tiny, tiny cells that make up this film. We're talking specifically about the rods and the cones. Now, this is where it gets super interesting. These cells, the rods and cones, have totally different jobs. It's like a division of labor, right? The rods are your night vision specialists. They handle dim light and all your peripheral or side vision. The cones, on the other hand, they're all about bright light, color, and that sharp central vision you use for, say, reading a book or recognizing a face. And this is absolutely crucial to understand because RP affects these cells in a specific order. All right, so that brings us to our next section. We know it damages the rods and cones, but what does that feel like? How does it actually translate to what a person experiences every day? And this really lays out the typical progression. Because the rods are usually affected first, remember, there are night vision cells, one of the earliest signs is often trouble seeing at night, or night blindness. Then, as more rods are lost, that side vision starts to narrow. This creates what's famously called tunnel vision. And then in the later stages, the disease can start to affect the cones, and that's when that sharp, central vision begins to get blurry. But here's a really important point. This progression, how fast it happens, it's different for everyone. There's no one-size-fits-all timeline. And that is exactly why getting a specific genetic diagnosis is such a game changer. It can help figure out which gene is causing the issue, which gives doctors a much better idea of how the disease might progress, and, crucially, it can unlock the door to specific treatments or clinical trials. Okay, so getting a diagnosis like this can, of course, feel incredibly overwhelming. But this next section isn't just about vision loss. It's about empowerment. It's about all the proactive things you can do to adapt your world and live a full, independent life. And honestly, simple changes at home can make a world of difference. We're talking about things like using bright, even lighting everywhere, putting in motion-activated lights in hallways so you're never caught in the dark, or using color contrast, like a dark doormat on a light-colored floor, to make things pop. It's all about making your space safe, easy to navigate, and predictable. And the most important thing to remember is that you are not on this journey alone. Building your expert team is so, so important. You've got your retina specialist for checkups, a genetic counselor to really understand your specific type of RP, a low vision specialist for tools and aids, all the way to support groups for that peer advice you just can't get anywhere else. It's your personal network of support. Okay, now for the section I'm most excited about. This is where we talk about real, evidence-based hope. Because, you know, the conversation around RP has totally shifted. We've gone from just managing symptoms to actually talking about treating the underlying disease. So what does the future of treatment actually hold? Well, the research is advancing on 4 main fronts. And honestly, each one is more exciting than the last. First up, we have gene therapy. This is probably the most developed area right now, and we already have a massive success story here. A drug called Luxturna. It's FDA approved, and it works by replacing a faulty gene, and it's been shown to actually improve vision. It proved the concept works, and now scientists are taking that same idea and targeting a whole bunch of other genes that cause RP. Next, there's something called optogenetics. Now, this could be a total game changer, especially for people with more advanced RP. The key phrase here is mutation agnostic. What does that mean? It means it could potentially work for lots of people, no matter which specific gene is causing their RP. It basically uses light-sensitive proteins to turn other retinal cells into light sensors, even after the original ones are gone. Then we've got stem cell therapy, and the goal here is, well, it's incredibly ambitious. The idea is to actually regenerate damaged tissue by transplanting brand new lab-grown photoreceptor cells right into the retina. I mean, this sounds like science fiction, but this futuristic science is now actually entering human clinical trials. And finally, we have RNA therapies. The best way to think about these is like a spell checker for your genes. Instead of trying to permanently change the DNA, these therapies work on the messages that come from the gene. They're designed to find the errors in those genetic instructions and correct them on the fly.
So, all of this, it brings us to our final section, and really the most important message of all, a future that is genuinely full of hope. So, let's boil it all down. What are the key takeaways from all this? If you are living with RP or you know someone who is, these 3 steps are so crucial. Get that genetic diagnosis, build your expert team, and engage with low vision rehab. And stay informed about all this amazing progress in clinical trials. It's about being an active participant in your own care. You know, the journey from the research lab to the doctor's office is moving faster than ever before. For the first time in history, we're not just talking about possibilities. We have real, evidence-based treatments that can preserve and even restore vision. It really makes you wonder, is the future of sight finally here? Thanks for watching.